Welcome into The Film Doesn't Lie. I'm your host, Trey Wicks. With me, as always, is my boy Marcus Brown. What's up, MB?
What it do, buddy?
You know what we do here. We go over the film of the best players, the best film. You know what it is. Film doesn't lie. But today we're going to go over the NFL draft just happened a couple weeks ago. Everything's starting to settle down. Undrafted free agents are getting signed. Everyone's starting to figure out their fit. So we're going to see who's the best steals of the draft so far, even of the draft and undrafted process. So let's go ahead and get started. So Mark, who would you say is your top dude, the best steal of the draft, as someone that everyone missed on?
I may be ACC biased, but I got to go with Justin Ross, man. I mean, dude came on the scene and lit it up for Clemson before his injury. Was definitely one of the top wide receivers in the country before his injury. So for him to, what was he, undrafted or
I think he was
mid-pick?
undrafted, yes, because of his health issues.
And see, that's insane to me. Somebody who has so much production at a high level, to go undrafted is just crazy. So I have to go with that being the best pick, and especially he'll have somebody like Mahomes to get him the ball.
Absolutely, especially the post Tyreek Hill era now. They're going to need as many playmakers as possible. He has already started receiving some praise out of rookie minicamp. He is a smooth route runner. Everything like that. To me, he's the better version of T. Higgins, and T. Higgins is doing pretty good for himself in the league right now.
Yep.
So, you heard it. Mark said it. Justin Ross, 6'4", tall and lanky. He's gonna be a playmaker for Mahomes when Kelsey can't do it all.
That's right. I mean, he has the tools to do it. If he can stay healthy, I think that's an interesting situation to watch over there in Kansas City.
So let's move on to the next steal of the draft. I think this one's fairly obvious to most people. He's been the number one rated linebacker in college, high school, all the way through. But we saw him fall from first round status to second round to third round, and he finally got his name called off the board. Mr. Kareem Dean, the heart and soul of that Bulldogs defense in Georgia, national championship defense. And a lot of people were very shocked when his name just kept falling. I know, I was like, I don't even need a linebacker, but I would take him.
Well, yeah. I definitely thought, Jacksonville was going to try to make a move for him. The way he just kept sliding and sliding.
Especially with the need after Miles Jack's departure.
Exactly. We ended up drafting 2 linebackers ourselves, so that just to see him fall, it's crazy. Like you said, he was recognized as a top 1 or 2 linebacker by literally everyone. So to have him drop to the third round and had guys drafted even before him was definitely concerning.
You see it on the film right now. He's a ball hawk. You're talking run game, dropping into coverages, fits, recognizing plays, diagnosing plays. He's that dude. He's not scared to play the wood. You see that. He's almost. I feel like he has a high floor. His floor is that he's going to be a starting NFL linebacker.
Yep, I agree. And I mean, him going to Philly, they needed linebackers, so that was a good fit. That's a good pickup for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That Philly team, I feel like Philly had one of the best drafts, even though one of their picks wasn't even really a draft pick because they got A.J. Brown. But I feel like they definitely are gained the most from the draft process.
Yes, they did. They had a great 3 days.
So I do envy them. I envy them having Nakobe. But who else do you think was another steal of this draft?
We briefly touched on a few people. Another guy, for me, I mean, this is a hometown kid as well, and I like the way Jay Sean has handled himself. Jay Sean Corbin He's handled himself in the mini camps and such like that. That's all they've been saying in the rookie mini camps is how he's impressed. He's another guy that went undrafted, and I think it was either this show or it was my show on NBA. I can't remember which one it was, but when we did briefly discuss Jay Sean, the one thing we all had pointed out for him is he had his best year when it comes to explosiveness wise. He had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and he showed a lot of pop. He had a lot of big plays this year, and for him to go to someone like the Giants, I think he's gonna have a pretty good shot at getting a pretty good PT. If Saquon can't stay healthy, I don't see why Jay Sean can't shoot up that depth chart because
Absolutely, he's always been able to play, and thankfully he has been getting a lot of recognition since rookie man camp started. Coach Dabble actually himself pointed out how great Jay Sean's looked so far. So keep on doing your thing, J-Bo.
Yeah.
And so keeping going with that same steal factor, I feel like David Bell going to the Cleveland Browns where he fell at is a huge pickup for them, especially losing a guy like Jarvis Landry going back home to New Orleans. You got OBJ out there still in free agency, but probably most likely going to end up back as a Ram. You're moving on from Baker, which most people call him the faker, and you got a real quarterback in Deshaun now. You can say what you want about Deshaun, character-wise, everything like that, but he can ball. He is cold-blooded.
That's right.
And David Bell, they got Deshaun Watson, a weapon in that man out of Purdue, and
Yep.
we're gonna go ahead and look at him because he's 6'2", 205, strong hands, and he actually played ball in the Big Ten. They ain't known for producing wide receivers unless your name's Ohio State, and you see right there, slant, be able to break the first tackle, crispy on the routes, and then that yak. If you're a receiver, you can't get
And
yak. You're not a receiver.
And he really broke off into the scene, when Rondell Moore was there and Rondell Moore went down with the injury. He really took that next step forward. That I mean, it seemed like every game his stat line, 120 yards, 100 yards, 150 yards. Like he really turned that next step. And to get that kind of production out of a guy in the third round, I think they got him. I think that's going to be big time. And like you said, with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, who's going to get him the ball, we could look out, man. David Bell could be a sneak player for Rookie of the Year. It's like you said, they don't have anyone no more. So, I mean, definitely interesting to keep your eyes out if you're in the fantasy, if you're into early season awards. We can see his name, quite often.
And like Mark said, he had Rondell Moore on his team the year before. They do things a little bit differently. Rondell Moore is the complete speedster. This dude here is all in the routes. Everything from the start, getting his corner off him at the line to creating separation, catching the ball, and then creating yardage after. You see him stiff arming people, and he's a beautiful wide receiver. I don't know if he'll ever become a Super X or anything like that, the number one, but he's at least a number two on someone's team. Like I was saying about Nakobe Dean, this dude has another high floor. He's going to be a playmaker on your team.
I agree. I mean, just looking at him, you know who he actually kind of reminds me of a little bit of Golden Tate. Golden Tate was very consistent his whole career, and he made his living off killing guys with his route running ability.
You see right here, he's not the fastest dude, but he has at least 2-3 yards of separation almost every route. And he doesn't look that heavy, but he's 205, so he's thick. You're just not going to push him over.
Yeah.
He's built. But I think we got time for one more steal. You got one more for me, Mark?
Again, we briefly touched on this. And obviously, it's going to be hard to say it was a steal. I'm just going to go out there. This is a top 3 player in the who got drafted. And like you briefly had touched upon it before we started recording, Aiden Hutchinson. We everybody kind of expected him to be the number one pick. You know, his production matched his film, matched his stats. For him to not go one, obviously Detroit was ecstatic to get him there at two.
Especially since he's the hometown kid. That's an easy pick anytime. His jersey's a grand sell no matter what. Even if he's a bust, his jersey's a grand sell because he stayed home and did it. I think he is a safe pick. I don't know how high his pass rushing is going to be, like acumen, but he's balanced everywhere else. He's going to do everything the right way, and he's going to be a good, steady, steadfast player for the Lions. But I know you have a friend out in Oregon that's very happy about having him. Shout out to Steve, friend of the show, was on the mock draft NBA. Go ahead and check that episode out as well. Especially if you want to see where Chet Holmgren landed, right, Mark?
Hey, wait.
All right, so
if we get Chet Holmgren, man, I'm giving this show all the credits, man. I'm gonna have to blast that mock draft all over the place, man, because you guys said it here
Chet
first.
Holmgren to Orlando Tragic. Go ahead. So let's go ahead. We got one more. I have to go. The last steal of the draft, Mr. David Ojabo, who fell off draft boards. Incredible story. He unfortunately during his pro day blew out his Achilles, and he was going to be a first round pick. And he unfortunately, when he was getting to showcase his talent to the world, he had the worst thing that could happen. And you don't wish that on anyone, especially in that moment.
And he was having an amazing offseason in preparations for the draft. As a matter of fact, I was seeing draft boards, shooting him up, and he was creeping in the top 5. And so for him to go down with that injury, it sucks. It's just the way it goes sometimes. He was still picked in the second round, so that just tells you, how talented he is. Yeah, people will say, okay, we'll wait, and hopefully get that same production out of him.
So he was the better side of Aiden Hutchinson. Where I questioned Aiden Hutchinson's pass rushing ability, he made up for it. And Aiden Hutchinson kind of made up for his run stopping ability. So that's why Michigan was so dominant on defense last year. That's why they made the playoff. That's why they embarrassed Ohio State. Basically, Ojabo, I think he has talent enough to be a Pro Bowler one day. One of the best pass rushers in the league. Very Von Miller-ish. For those that don't know, he is of Nigerian descent. We've been seeing a lot of those come through, not just football, but pretty much every sport, as they're looking like they're, Greek freak? Everyone like that, they're just physically gifted. And
yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, I think this could be an absolute steal for them. And you see it on film. He has the quick burst. As Achilles is such an interesting injury because you never know how exactly you're going to come back from it because your Achilles holds all your explosiveness and everything like that, especially for a pass rusher. But I hope he comes back 100% because when he was at 100%, he was a problem.
And, of course, he goes to one of the perfect places for you to go as a pass rushing DN in Baltimore.
Like we said earlier, Baltimore. If you want to be a great defensive player and you get drafted to Baltimore, you're almost guaranteed because they don't miss often.
Yep, they do not. If they call your name, you just got put in a great situation. Soak it up and ball out, man. Enjoy the journey because, like you said, the Ravens, Steelers, those guys have perfected running a 3-4. They've perfected pass rushers. That's definitely where you want to go. So I can't wait to see him healthy and see him get out there and contribute because they already, the Ravens also already have a very good young pass rusher who I thought could have competed for a Rookie of the Year last year. Obviously, he didn't beat out Micah Parsons, but if he can get healthy, he'll be an instant contributor to help out.
So you heard it here first. We gave you about 5, 6 names, undrafted dudes, drafted dudes. Keep an eye out for him. And if, like Mark said, with guys like David Bell, if you are a fantasy owner, buy a little stock in them. So go ahead and
Yeah.
watch out. We're getting excited for the NFL season. He'll be here before you know it, as always. I
Yep.
thank my co-host Marcus Bryant, host of the NBA Cast, best in the business. Go ahead and follow him on every platform you can: Anchor, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, anything you can think of. Just search NBA Cast. He's probably on it.
Yes,
And
sir.
as always, I thank you guys for listening. Follow, like, and subscribe, and be blessed. Deuces.
That's right.